Good morning and welcome in, everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I would like to go over a quick overview of what is transpiring in the crypto market. It is no surprise to us in the community that we're red on this Sunday. We're still looking at the possibility that we could break down here. And in the short term, we've got a support structure that's right around $2.10. If we were to break that, we've got the Pennant flag support at $1.98 approximately. That's where we can get into some serious problems if we were to break down. By no means am I saying that this pattern's over or that it's going to cut in half or yada, yada, yada. What I am saying is we've got two very different targets. If we were to break out, we would have $3.59, assuming this Pennant flag stayed true. And if we were to break down, our technical target would be somewhere around 97 cents. We know we have a fair value gap around 92 cents. We also have one much lower than that at about 44 cents. But that remains to be seen if that's ever touched. I know we have one around $1.52 as well. And those, on average, about 97% of the time, they will fill those gaps. Now, we can talk about the lower gaps, but we've also got gaps up near all-time highs. So we've never filled those out. And look how many years it's gone. So it can take years upon years to even fill out those old threshold levels. But right now what I'm looking for is very simplistic. We've got this Pennant flag, and then we've got a smaller descending wedge consolidation, it looks like. Which, if we're going to break out bullishly, you would anticipate it to hold that at least lower support around $2.10. As I've said for the last several days, the market doesn't look good to me. A lot of people have said, oh, Tom's shaking out, a lot of things in the comments. If you want to know from the source, just come to me. I wouldn't listen to the nonsense in comments. Most of the people who comment those kind of things, they've never watched 5 minutes of my content. And if they have, it's a little embarrassing that they would throw me under the bus like that and not give the real information. But I'm just simply trying to warn everybody of what looks like we could have this big bearish pull down. So whether or not it actually plays out, it doesn't mean that I don't have exposure to crypto. It just means that my dead weight I got rid of. It doesn't mean that I don't hold the tokens you see in front of you, because every single one of these on my list, Algo, IOTA, XRP, XLM, XDC, DGB, ZIL, VChain, HBAR, I own them all. VELO. It's just the validity in which I own. I sold out of a lot of stuff when the bearishness in the market showed. It doesn't mean that I've got rid of my utility tokens. It just means that I'm on alert now. But some of the nonsense that made up about 30 to 50% of my portfolio was cut because it was unnecessary a few days ago, and I'm glad I did. Some of the overages on some of the stuff I own that was unnecessary, I got rid of. As far as my main holdings, they're still with me. I've seen a lot of people comment that I sold my XRP, which is untrue. If you want to know the truth, just come to me. I'm the source. If you don't want to hear it from the source, go to the speculators and be wrong. So with that being said, we're going to go over this chart. We're going to look at the Bitcoin heat signature, the heat liquidation map. As we can see now, Bitcoin slips under 94K. And I've talked about this for the last several days. There's the opportunity here for the market to have a further correction or a breakdown. So, I mean, the market's not acting in a way that I didn't suspect. I've been trying to be very transparent with the audience. And it's up to you to make an educated and informed decision here. Because as you can see, it's a little red. It's a little red. If you go into Bitcoin, I don't see anything that's surprising us right now. We've got what looks like a bear flag. Looks like a rising broadening wedge. And honestly, you can make a decision for yourself. If Bitcoin breaks 92,800 and starts breaking down, I don't see any reason why altcoins are going to hold up in this kind of a move. I'm just saying. Me personally, I don't see any reason why it would hold up. If Bitcoin has to rotate back down to that 72 to 75,000 area, what's going to hold altcoins up? We've got, for XRP, we've got the escrow drop that happens, on the 1st. That's going to be Wednesday. So it happens every single month. I'm aware of that, but understanding that it happens every single month, we look at the charts in the way that they should be looked at. And I'm not afraid. That's your line in the sand. If it breaks that broadening wedge, the rising broadening wedge that I've talked about for the past approximately week about how bearish that is, You can make a decision. You can make a decision because the reality is, if Bitcoin does drop down 20%, the reality is the altcoins are going to drop between 20 and 50%, likely. And if we start looking at this across the board, let's just say XRP takes this, it comes down to the uptrend at $1.99, that's 7%. If it were to fill out that entirety of that, which I don't suspect that's the case, but let's just say worst case scenario did play out, you're talking about a 55% drop. So that's if it breaks out of this. Right now, though, as we've talked about, a pennant flag is very bullish. As long as you continue to make the higher lows and lower highs successfully, very bullish. So, you know, you got to look at the pattern for what it is, but also look at the opportunity that could possibly present itself going forward. We're having a lot of these bearish divergences, death crosses in the 3-hourly now in XRP, negative divergences in the 4-hourly. Like I said yesterday, if you're looking to buy, this isn't the time. Like if you're in the market and you're successfully stuck in it and you don't want to cash out for profit, I mean, you're going to have to hold it. But as far as being a first-time buyer, you're going to have to make a very honest and informed decision with yourself to see if this is the spot that you want to buy it. Like it's a lot different to say, hey, buy some of this. Like I said with XRP, it's a lot different at $2.15 than it was at 35 cents. I couldn't buy it here. But at 35, I had no problem. XLM, the same thing at 35, it's hard to buy, but at 8 cents, it was easy. DGB still in a relatively good zone. You know, there's a few of them that are still in zones where they barely moved. Although DGB still up a couple 100%. We've got big consolidations that we've already worked on, but we've talked about it here as well. If DGB breaks down, I mean, you could be talking about back to that 009 level. There's a lot of these that on this next pull down, a lot of these that have these big gains could give it all back. But that doesn't mean it's broken down yet. It just means we have to be observant to the pattern setups. I'm not talking bearish because I want to. I'm talking bearish because I have to. I've still showed the nuance here about it being in a pennant flag. I've got both consolidations in front of us where we could still hold a bullish consolidation. It's just right now we're working in a bearish fashion. We don't have any volume across crypto now. Even with these run-ups yesterday, there was not a lot of volume. So I can see it from both perspectives. They're grabbing liquidity, but is this going to push into a bigger push now? We'll be starting a new moon phase soon. Going into the new year is typically bullish once you finally flip over. You know, at least in the start. We've had history where December has been bearish and January has been much more bullish in the recent 5 years. So I'm not losing faith. I cut some dead weight. I did what I needed to do. And I took out enough to where I can fix up my house the way I intended to on this cycle. But I've got so much crypto left that it does a real disservice to the newer folks and then some that have been around that might not be paying attention to say that I've cut and run from crypto. It's just, I would rather people be more honest in the comments, but I don't expect much from humanity. You know, so if you want to see the truth, you come in here and you watch what I have to say. If you want to hear speculators, you can go get scammed in the comments. I mean, I understand that full-heartedly. So with that being said, good morning. 9:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, December 29th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. And some of it's as simple as some people are selling out right before tax season ends because maybe they've got some tremendous gains and they're going to pair it with some losses. And then maybe their portfolio has tremendous losses on the books through the year and they want to sell out some of these gains to offset those losses. And then they'll buy it back on the first, you know, kind of like a wash sale, as they call them. So there's a lot of things that do happen at the end of the year. It makes me a little nervous with Bitcoin that all the big buyers seem to be just businesses that are on their balance sheet. They're selling common shares to prop up Bitcoin, and that's what MicroStrategies is doing. There's a few other companies that are following that lead as well. But MicroStrategies has been on average selling several million common share stocks to their MicroStrategy. Even though it just got listed, I believe it's on the NASDAQ 100. But they're basically issuing units of debt, overweighting their MicroStrategy stock, putting it in water, like deep water, by selling common shares, which it's just like the US dollar printing US dollars and they expand the money supply. You're just expanding the shares in MicroStrategy, which dilutes the price. So they're basically whitewashing and holding their shareholders at hostage. They're held at hostage, giving them free Bitcoin and things like that so that they will hold their MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy, therefore, in the books, can take out deeper loans, sell common shares, and then just buy Bitcoin. It's a recipe for disaster in the future. If the futures come now, this rising broadening wedge will break down. There won't be any kind of effective buying power, and we're going to have a massive amount of people holding the bag here. And that's what I'm trying to warn of. If that scenario plays out, you should have every opportunity to be able to get out of your position, which in all reality, if you wanted to, you had an opportunity at 272 when that dragon pattern failed to break out here. It's not broken down exactly all the way, but the fact that we came all the way down to $1.94 looks like we have a nice little consolidation, but that bearish cross is still continuing even further in the 4-hourly. And it's basically just waiting to give up the $2.10 area, and then it would be a quick drop to $2 or $1.98. And then that would be your make it or break it point. We know a pennant flag. We haven't finished off the entirety of this pattern. We've only got 2 hits of resistance, 2 hits of support. It seems a little early to break down, but if Bitcoin were to break this rising broadening wedge, this will fall out so quickly it'll make your head explode. So we have still not broke away from Bitcoin. We still haven't, if you want to call it depegged from Bitcoin, it still hasn't happened. We haven't diverged from Bitcoin yet. So until crypto has that divergence from Bitcoin, it still plays off very largely on Bitcoin. If we want to go into the total crypto, I'm just going to stay on the charts. I'm not going into any noise today. I just want to make it very clear what I'm seeing on the charts, because I think a lot of people are afraid to admit what they see on the charts, but it's always been my saving grace because I understand them at such a level. So if you look at just the total crypto market cap, getting this rejection again, now you're looking at coming down to 3.13 trillion. You know, it's a pretty big drop here. Not crazy, but it's going to lead to some pain here if this plays out. There's no doubt about it, because if it breaks down that, then you have that big drop. So I'm just simply telling everybody, like, at least pay attention to your portfolios. I'm not telling you that you got to sell everything. I'm not telling you to do anything that you're not comfortable with. What I am saying, though, is we're getting these warning signals here. And now we've got this death cross confirmed in the 4-hourly. We got the rejection in the 4-hourly on Ethereum. And we do have rising broadening wedges. So what you could seriously do in the crypto market is you can wait, if you're not in, and wait until Ethereum clearly passes 3,540 or 3,500 and some change. If it can't pass 3,500, it's bearish as hell. So that's a rising broadening wedge there as well. So, like, I can't help what the patterns are showing us, but what we can do is try to take advantage of what the patterns are showing us. We really could. The difference between XRP is it's on a pennant flag, so until it breaks down, you have to at least honor the fact that it's bullish. But then you look at the weight of the rest of the market and say, well, are we really bullish? Is this a nuance? Is this just a little behind the rest of the market? Then you can say, well, didn't we see this in XLM when we kind of had a pennant flag before and then it broke down into like this channel? Yeah, we could say that. Because this is exactly what we're speculating with XRP, that maybe it falls into a channel like this. But look at XLM, it's fallen below the uptrend. Like, this doesn't look bullish to me, I'm sorry. This doesn't look bullish. It's almost like I'm tempted in my heart to just, well, I don't want to do that. I could just sell everything and then just be like, you know, all the criticism I got, I can just sell off 100% of my crypto besides XRP and then just wait for it to drop because I know it's going to. In my heart of hearts, I know this is going to drop. Unless we get some miracle on Monday morning with the ETFs, it feels like we're going to drop. I prefer it not to, like I've said a million times, because it makes my audience stronger. It makes the support stronger. It makes more people more excited about crypto. But everything that goes up must go down. And since we took the elevator up, I'll say it one more time here on this Sunday morning. We took the elevator up. Take the stairs down. Remember this? And that's also why I made that speculation on another chart. I don't remember if I put it back so everybody could see properly. But I made the speculation on the other chart where maybe it does go into an inverse head and shoulders. Maybe it does break down into a channel. Of course, I don't have it on any of the charts now. But on this chart, I said, what if it isn't a channel just like XLM, right? And then we have to speculate. Maybe it's something like that. So who knows? But what I do know right now is that this don't feel right. This don't feel good. The volume's crashed. And there is no speculative buyers right now in crypto. And that is why it's falling off a cliff right now. And not the cliff that it was once on. Because remember, at one point falling off a cliff meant we were back down to 50 or 40 cents. Right now for XRP, it's at 215. For Bitcoin, it's at 94,000. So you have to make your own decisions. You know, I'm making my own decisions. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, but what I can tell you is I don't look at coming out of this less than I am right now. You know, I'm looking at this from a real logical perspective that we're about to break down in a very big way. And I can warn, I can beat the horn. I can tell everybody of what's to come. But what I can't do is I can't beg you to do anything. And like, we're at a very small spot here where I could see a benefit if you're wise and you understand what you're seeing in front of you. I could certainly see a benefit to somebody liquidating out of their portfolio, but I could also see the optic as well where some are going to start to build into a portfolio. So are you building into a portfolio when it's up 3, 4, 500%? Are you starting to take some profit? That's the big question. Is this cycle meant to continue, or is this a big fake out cycle? And then basically what ends up happening is the government gets all this top end liquidity from all of us in retail. And then eventually that's how they pay off their debt. And then what do? They sucker in all of us to buy the tops, right? Instead of buying it before the pump, tell us about these fancy Bitcoin reserves. And what happens if there is no Bitcoin reserve? What if this is all just nonsense? You know, that's what I mean. So you get the big pump and dump scheme. But at the same time, you'd have to find out the proper area to where you see that sign that it's over. Like for me, I seen a sign that it's not just going to be easy money from here. So I got rid of the dead weight. And I got criticized. And I see where I stand with most in the community. But by saying that I get rid of dead weight and I'm pushing my portfolio in a certain perspective and a certain positioning, there's a reason why. Nobody's doing this to lose money. I'm not doing this to give it all back. I didn't spend 3 years in a bear market to give it all back. So I'm honest with myself. So I know my levels. I know what can happen. I don't need anybody else to tell me. That's the beauty of what I do. I don't need a single other person to tell me what's going on. I can see it for myself. And that's up to me. Do I want to be an emotional person? Or do I want to be honest with myself? And right now, even if you break it into a sense like this, you can certainly see, and I'm not saying it's bearish. What I'm saying is there's consolidation that needs to happen, it looks like. And the market is giving us simple warning signs here by flipping into these negative divergences and bearish divergences and death crosses across the market. But it's also telling us you've got to do this from a standpoint of reasonability. Because even if this breaks down, there is a chance that it doesn't go very far. You know, so there's no right answer. In 2021, when we wholesaled our portfolio, there's no right answers. The problem is I wouldn't wholesale anything in a pennant flag. You know, I wouldn't get rid of anything where we're at yet. Especially if you look like XRP. Now, there's some of them that have already fallen out. So if I was in Ethereum, if I was in Bitcoin, and I'm looking at a rising broadening wedge, well, yeah, you know, maybe I might be looking at that a little differently because you're literally one step from breaking down. But then again, isn't that to say the same across the crypto market? If Bitcoin and Ethereum are breaking down, isn't Ethereum the key gateway to tell us when alt season starts? It's certainly not going to start with it doing this junk. This is a big bear flag. I don't need anybody to tell me what it is. You know, if this plays out true, this is a gigantic bear flag. And it almost speaks to me the fact that why not just take profit, and then just buy it back when Ethereum comes down and finishes out what is very clearly now a topping reversal on a right shoulder. So that's the dilemma I'm in right now. So I've always been under the nuance that I will always tell the audience if I sell something, and that's probably what I'll do. But with the criticism I've taken the last few days, It's almost like Julie said, why not just keep your portfolio a little more secret and then do what you got to do with the nuances? Like, they're here for XRP and some of the other ones, but why talk so openly about the rest of your portfolio if you're going to say such a criticism? I think that comes with the territory, but it is a great question to ask. Like, why would people be so mad if I'm just telling you what I personally do and try to keep you in light, you know, instead of keeping you in the dark? So I'll be honest with my portfolio, but I will say there are times that, you know, when people misrepresent what I'm saying, that makes me want to stay a little more tight-lipped, because then there's not that speculation in the comments. There's not any of the nonsense. There's, hey, he's in crypto until the end of time. Who cares about the in and out? But it's the end day result. It doesn't seem to have the same weight to me by doing it that way. But I will say it's a bit disheartening seeing people misrepresent what I am actually doing, and then people pushing that narrative in the comments. And some will say, hey, don't read the comments, but that is the first line for somebody when they join my community. They're going to see the comments. They're not even going to hear what I say first. They're going to look at a video. They're going to go in the comments, because human nature says we're not smart enough to watch our own information and then, you know, critique it ourselves. We must see what the rest of the world is saying first to form our opinion, and then we'll decide whether or not we like or hate somebody based on somebody else's word when we haven't even seen anything from that person to build our own factual database. That is our number one problem in this world. The USA suffers from it greatly. The people that run and are walking amongst us in the USA would rather listen to the nonsense of the news, the nonsense of hearsay, than listen to the source. So what I'm saying is, I have not sold out of my utility tokens. I have every single thing you see on this list. So if you're listening to somebody else who says that I've given up my portfolio, I've been shaken off, I've been shaken out, the only thing shaken here is loose words spoken by a true uneducated person. So that is where I stand. That is 22 minutes of telling you exactly how I feel, but I haven't given up. I know we're still in a bullish setup for XRP. I know that we are coming to support structures, and I also know in rising broadening wedges like Bitcoin is in, until they break down, they can shoot all the way back up, and we've speculated. What if it's in that rising broadening wedge and it needs to come up to the technical target from the cup and handle before a big breakdown? That is the nuance here. So when everybody asks me, did you sell out? Only the junk. Only the overweight. But I have every utility token I set out to get. And some of them, in my own time, I've been adding to build an even bigger position. So in the future, when I have some of these, they're going to be even bigger than some suspect. But you just may not understand why. If you watch the if you watch the lives, if you watch the updates every single day, you will be well informed. If you want to support my work in the time where we're losing a bunch of people right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We managed to eat up the losses. We went from 30,280 to 30,190 after I started talking a little bearish. We worked our way back over 30,300. So the people that want to know the truth are stronger than the ones who would like me to lie to them, which is good to see. If you want to show personal support, you can always join Tom's Army or send a YouTube super chat, which those are dwindling off, which I fully expect when the market's tanking a little bit. If you want to join and find crypto, your favorite crypto here, with the lowest spot and leverage trading fees or the lowest maker-taker, BITUNIX would be the way to go. Their maker-taker fees the lowest I've found in the USA. You can long and short the market. You can spot and futures trade, leverage, and yada, 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 so on and so forth. XRP and many others are there. HOTCOIN has VELO, IOTA, XDC. There's so many of them there. So many of them there. So take advantage, no VPN or KYC, like I said. Crypto.com, many options there as well. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo if you want to send support outside of the channel. But I'm going to go to my dad's today. We're going to do our Christmas. So I won't be around for much of the day at all. I'm going there around 12:30. So I decided to do a regular update this morning and get back to the regular scheduled program. We'll do our updates in the morning. We'll do our short in the early afternoon. During the week, we'll always do the live around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, I probably won't be able to do a live, but never say never. I like to come on Sunday nights. But the way I'm looking at this crypto market, so many people are becoming so nervous because of consolidation. It's making me a little more excited. The more people that say this market's a pile of shit, the more people that give up, the better off we are. We need that crypto fear and greed index to reverse a little bit, but at no point here is it the time where if you're holding as a long holder, you haven't got that sell signal yet. Bitcoin's still in the broadening wedge. You got XRP still in the pennant flag. If you have dead weight you want to get rid of, well, could have did that a few days ago or a month ago, whatever. You can do that. It doesn't matter. If you have something that you don't want and it's keeping you to have that false look on the market, you've got to take profit where it's there, and you've got to have an open and honest discussion with yourself of what your plans are. My plans in this cycle is to redo my house. I've got that cash to the side, like $50K now that I can redo my house. So, that was my objective here. And that doesn't mean that I touched any of my crypto that I want to hold long term, because I haven't. I was just very strategic on speculative tokens that I wouldn't normally hold to build a portfolio. So, that's just the way it goes. You're either with it or you're not. Hashtag be better, do better in the comments. And don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful Sunday morning. Stay humble. Keep that humility. And remember to tell the truth. If you tell the truth, no matter what anybody else says, you can't be broken down. You can only be built up even higher.